Welcome to part one of this irregular series for the channel where we will be playing Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. Now I have done a separate introduction video for this series, but for anyone who's missed it, I will do a quick overview of the map and talk a little bit about the objectives of the series. So the first thing is to just show you the map, just drag it up nice and big so you can see it. You can see this map is very interesting because it consists of a mainland down in the bottom right hand corner here, a whole series of islands. Now if you want to play on this map, it is available on the Steam Workshop. It's called Northern Canada. I know it's not strictly a Soviet Republic, but I have to admit, after looking at this map for some time, and I've done a little bit of test play, just fiddling around with it, I've got a bit of addicted and I really want to beat this map because it's got a very interesting challenge to it. And the challenge comes from not just from the very rough terrain and having to build bridges, but for where the placement of the resources are. So if I go up and show you the coal here, we've got a good quantity of coal on the mainland and a little bit more out on the islands. So we've got the coal to get our economy started, but then if I move down to iron ore, you'll see that the iron ore is right out on some of the outer islands. Therefore, in order to be able to get a good self-dependent steel industry up and running, we're going to have to get out on these islands. Then we're either going to have to bring enough iron ore to a steel manufacturing base down on the mainland, or we're going to have to build steel production out on the islands. And then the same goes for oil. So there's no quick fix cheap oil solution here. We're going to have to get out and get the oil. Uranium is a slightly different. We've got a little bit on the mainland, but you can see the other spots are out on the islands. So this is the real challenge, is to make a self-sufficient economy whilst actually bridging out to all these islands. And of course the other thing is, if I actually give you a little bit of a tour across the map, in fact I'll go over here because there's only two real entry points onto this map. We've got the one from the Soviet Republic here. In fact, just drag it right out again. And then if we come over to here, we've got the one from the NATO countries. They're both on the mainland here. There's a couple of small connections here in the middle of nowhere, which we could use for exports. But getting up here is going to be interesting. As I say, if I go across the map, if I should show you where, if we go to, you could say it's probably the main ore producing area. You can see it's not a flat map. I don't think there's any real flat areas at all on this map. So I think the person who created it was called Fire. Must have done a straight direct import from a region in Canada. You can see there's a little bit there. So there's no flat areas on the map. So we're going to have to do quite a lot of leveling to get our cities up and running. But that takes me now into the, we could say, the rules of this series. The objective of this series is we're going to build as much as possible, in fact virtually everything, beyond creating the essentials for our starter town, which will be down somewhere in this area. And that will extend that as the economy becomes more and more self-sufficiently, we will produce more and more of the base resources like steel. We're going to be working on creating our own power, and more importantly, if I want to use ships, I'm going to have to build a shipyard and build ships. And then eventually, once we get vehicle production up, because that's what's actually available in the game now, we will be producing our own vehicles. So if we want our small dumper trucks, we're going to have to build them. But that's the idea where we want to get to, but that's a long way down in the future. It also applies to railway. We're going to build all our own rail track, and eventually we will probably build all our own rolling stock as well. But as I said, that is going to be a long way down the road. So what I want to do now is just work on setting up a small starting town here. And what I want to do is purchase the minimum amount of buildings just to get our starter town up and running, because there are certain buildings in the game which you have to build at the start, because there's no way you can build them. For example, if I show you, you come into construction here, if I show you a small aggregate plant, and better turn off the auto build, you can see here that to build this we need steel, gravel, and more importantly concrete and asphalt. Well, if I come to the customs post here, you will see that we can't actually buy asphalt and concrete. It's one of the few resources that we can't actually buy from the customs post here. So what we've actually got to do is get a town up and running, making asphalt and concrete, so that we can actually build up a building. So there are certain buildings we need to build going there. And I suppose I better start looking at this map. Let me see, I'm just going to turn the wireframe on, because the wireframe gives you a good idea of the gradients in the map. It doesn't show you everything that's level. The white squares show where it's reasonable square, and then you've got here which shows that's a steep gradient. Of course over here you can see there's some very steep gradients there. Now, when it comes to leveling, you can pay for leveling just by switching this on, and then you can pay, but it's very expensive, and we don't have a lot of money, so I'm going to turn off that. Now, there is a way to get some free leveling, which we will be using to start with, primarily because, well, I'll explain as we go along. That would be the easiest way to do it. So the first building we need to put in is a vehicle depot. I want to try and get this in for free. If you can build it without put that place of building without leveling, you can get it for free, but you've got to have it completely green. You see it goes like that. I think we'll put the vehicle building there. We got that in there, and I say we're going to have to build this because we need the vehicles to build it. So I'm just going to unpause that. I'm going to leave the game on pause at the beginning while I'm actually thinking about the planning, because we are now on a deadline. Because again, just to explain this, we are playing on the seasons update, and once we get to about September, the temperature will drop, and if our population gets cold, they will be gone so quick we won't even see them. So that's a problem. And of course, what we're going to need to do in here is come in and buy a couple of excavators and a couple of bulldozers. If I actually click on them, you will see that at the moment they don't have much fuel. They've only got a little bit of fuel left, and therefore truthfully you can't pay for leveling until you've got a petrol station. And this is one of the catch-22 situations with this game, that in order to run a petrol station you need power. And I mean, I've got power down here which I can import, but I don't really want to put down a transformer, which is one of these things, around here until I've actually worked out where I actually want my town, because otherwise I'll be building multiple power distribution around here. I think the next thing we're going to need to do is just work out where we're going to go. I mean, we've got a bit of level ground this way, but I suppose I better show you where the resources are. We know that there's coal over here. So if we just come in here, so we're roughly around coal here, and the way you can detect it is if I come into here. We got coal up there. Of course, this terrain here shows gravel, but it's a long way away. And we've got some gravel up there, which I mentioned in the introduction. But what I actually did is there's a little bit of gravel buried down here, which I want to do. There, we've got one little bit of gravel there. We've got this depression here. And I mean, I will admit I have looked at this map. In fact, I've studied it quite a lot, but I haven't actually built that much on it. Did a bit of a test build over here, and which didn't go too well. And I realised that it was taking me in the wrong direction, because we do need to go in this direction to get coal. And so what I'm thinking is concrete and asphalt here, maybe an ore processing plant down. Is it not iron ore? Let's get it's gravel. Where is it? Yeah, gravel processing plant tucked in here as well. Although. And I suppose that is now an intro to something else that I'll be playing. I'll be using quite a lot of mods, not because they give you an advantage. There are a few which change the game things, so things like biofuel here. There's also some charcoal kilns here, which can be used to produce coal, but we're probably not going to need those. So there are some mods that do change the game dynamics. The problem with building the very small buildings here is the fact that they don't produce enough to drive your initial commerce. We've got pig farms here. We will be using the biofuel simply because we're a long way away from the oil. So what we'll be doing is using crops to create biofuel. Because what we're going to have to do is make our starter town economically viable. Because if we're not making money, our 1 million rubles will disappear incredibly quickly, and then we'll be bankrupt, and then it'll be game over. So our first objective is to get the town built, get it making a profit, so we're making money. Then that will finance our expansion outwards. That's the theory anyway. So back to what I was saying is we're going to have concrete and asphalt here. So I'm thinking town here. I mean, it's reasonably level. Emphasis on the reasonably. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to strike a couple of average data points. Now I'm not going to go absolutely wholesale leveling on this, but I just want to get a feel. You can see the little vehicles juddering in the background, so, and I think we got a little bit of a slope up here, so I think we're gonna just level this through here a bit. what I'm doing at the moment is just getting some idea of what the level is, and we can maybe level through there. A bit of a deep dip here, and then we got some more leveling over here. Just do this here. I don't want to spend too long doing this. And one way you can check the levels is by just drawing roads. We got depression there. I don't think I want to bring it up that high. I think what we'll do is just level this up a little bit. When it turns green, it's okay. And we're just going to fill this little bit in here. Create a little bit of width here. I do want to take a road down there. I think we can probably just come across here and make this a little bit wider. Like that. Just see what it's like this way. That's not bad actually. If we're going to put houses here, we're going to need to get this reasonably level. And one of the advantages of using roads like this is that you can change height. If you use this tool here, what it will do is it will make everything the same height all the way through. I don't really want to do that. I just want to just pull this through here. I'll just pull that maybe a little bit over that way. Maybe we'll just average level off this a little bit over here a bit. I don't want to go too close to this edge, because if I make this too steep, I won't be able to get footpaths down here to the concrete. Well, I think I shouldn't be able to anyway. So. Yeah, I mean, personally, I find the roads are doing this. I mean, you don't need it flat. As long as it turns green, it means you can build on it. So maybe we'll just check that a little bit. I think that's good enough. And we got this chunk of big lump here. I think we'll just take this lump down. And as I said, until I've laid out the main structure of the town, I don't really want to commit too much to power. Just maybe we'll just shake this back a little bit more. I know some of you may think this is actually cheating, which in some ways it is a little bit, but I think on a map like this, where there is no flat terrain, I think it's quite fairly important. I think what we'll do now is we'll use the level tool. I'll just take off the gloss of that bit there. Once you've got the gas station built, what happens is these vehicles go and buy fuel. So you're not paying directly for the leveling. What you're actually doing is you're just paying in fuel consumption. And it is pretty cost effective. It's just, I think that's enough. Maybe we need to come this way a smidge as well. Okay, now I think we'll go to the average level on this side. I think we've got a big enough area there to lay out a town. As you can see, it's not absolutely dead flat, but I'm happy with that. Yeah. So, probably gone a little bit overboard. We've got a little bit of a rise there, but I'm not going to bother with that. And I think what we need to do now is get some road in. Now, again, you could go all overboard and try and level all this through, but I don't think it's particularly that important. And I think what I'm going to do is just put a road there. And I want to connect that road in there. What we need to do now is get up onto this platform here. This is a bit steep. Let's just see. Yeah. Did I level that road through? We've got to kind of leveled it through here, isn't it? And that's where it breaks down. So if I come through here, so say I come across like that, there, then we come down. Oops. That's roughly. Okay, it's getting too high. Just going to drop that down a little bit. Not raise, lower. I think I've come in a little bit. Let's go the opposite way. Let's just come up this way. Nothing says that the road has to be dead straight. And okay, what we'll do is just have to come up in sections like that. No, I don't like that at all. So we're just going to take that out. I think we're going to push it back a little bit further. In fact, this come to about. Oh, that's better. Get over a bit further. Yeah, I think that will work a bit better. Just take that through there like that. We've got a road through there. Got that there. And of course, the next thing I need to do is we need to preserve these roads, because I don't want to cut off. This is my only way out of here. I'm just going to run you through here. The reason I'm running this parallel is that if we're going to gravel in these roads, we're going to need to be able to do it, so we can come across like that. And out there, just trim off these ends. In fact, I think what we'll do is we'll take this road out that way now. So the thought we could get the third road, we'll just draw out like that and leave it, because we've got 3 rail tracks here as well, which we need to make sure we don't mess up. And I would like these two to come out like that. Can we get this up over the hill? What I'm thinking is that we can run the rail track, these two over here, and then eventually out here we'll get some kind of junction which will go in that direction and that direction. And then I think this one I'd like to come out and maybe just go like that. Of course, we're not going to build them. The reason I'm laying these out is because we're going to put power lines over this. I want to make sure that the power lines don't obstruct the tracks, because it'd be really annoying to come back really late in the game when I want to use the rail tracks to find that they're all blocked by power lines. I think we've got this bit here. I think it's now time to think about the gas station, or where is it? Yeah. My instinct is to put it about here, because I want the gas station close enough to where people will be buying the fuel. Right, that's in a recess there. And I could put now the next one thing I'm building I want in is the construction, not the rail construction, the ordinary construction depot. We could put it in there, or we could put it there. That road's too close, so actually let's take this road out. Let's just take that out and just trim you back to about there. Then we'll put, when you're playing on hard difficulty and you want to build everything, laying out your initial town is very important. You know, a mistake when in this early stage could cost you the whole playthrough. I'm just going to come there. So we've got a, so basically we got a gas station, we got a construction, and the next thing I want in here is a small aggregate plant. Now I know I said I want to put, actually we could put the aggregate plant over here, couldn't we? But we would have to build that in. Okay. Right. I think what we're going to do now is, just so that we can get the game moving forward, I'm just going to fund this construction in dollars, this in dollars, because we can't make dollars. I just want to protect the rubles. I'm just going to build the gas station and the construction depot. Not that we need the construction depot. We've got a little bit of space here should I need it. You see the gas station needs power and the auto purchase is on. We're just going to take the auto purchase off. And the main reason I left it on is that you need to prime the gas station, because when you buy your first thing, we can't cancel the auto purchase because we've got no power, and I don't want to put the power in just yet. This is where you're a bit caught, so we're going to go back to pausing while I do the initial planning. I mean, my instinct is to have a power station there. I mean, let me just see. I think if we lay in the main road structure and do the actual planning now, and then we'll get up and running. So then what we're going to do here? Kind of thinking, why won't that tag smack on the road? There are times in this game. There are times. It's just the nodes can be a little bit annoying. I mean, I would like to come. Okay, we're going to run up like that. I think it's just, oops, I don't want that cancelled. We're going to build all our gravel roads. Now, one thing I will say is I'm not going to rush to actually lay asphalt roads, and the reason for that is that we're starting in the 1960s, and if I show you, click on here, I'll show you the vehicles. You'll see most of them have got a top speed of 75. There's 185 buses, but when you get to your dumper trucks, you see the maximum speed is 70 kilometers an hour. And if I show you the roads, the maximum speed of a gravel road is 60. And then, so really to get the benefit of asphalt roads, you really need newer vehicles. We will be trying to upgrade everything to gravel as quickly as possible. We've got a nice little crossroads here. I think we'll put a heating plant there. We need it to. So the first thing we're going to need in here is a shop. And what I'd like to do is build my secondary construction area here. So let's just. I think what we'll do is we'll just put a little bit of. That's no good. I just want to trim that back a little bit. I think that might give me a bit of a barrier. Now what we are going to build is this small shopping centre, simply because it contains all the goods. You can build the two separate ones, but to be honest, I think on this start the small shopping centre is going to be far more important. So I think if we trim that back and then just put this up, what I want to do is get this in. I actually need that footpath across the front. I don't think I actually do. Let me just take this out. And then we'll just... Now I think we can go with the road. Press control, you can actually do a fine adjustment when you're... So I think that would be good enough. And that leaves enough room there for a footpath down there. We'll just stick out that path there. In fact, what we can do is put the footpath in and Come on, game. There are times when this game that can come into there, and then we can put a path across to there. Now, what do I want to build? Do I want to extend this out any further? Because what I would like is some storage. Because what I'm thinking is... Right, I need to put this in here. But I don't think I actually need that road. So what we're going to do is trim this road back. Like that. Now I could put a kindergarten here. Now kindergartens are an education building. And they're one of these buildings that fill up very quickly in the early part of the game. So what we could do is, and let me just, if we put a kindergarten in about there, actually we'll put it over that way a little bit. Actually, if we put it in a slight angle, that's it. There's nothing says that. There's nothing in the game that says that has to be everything has to be in a grid formation. We got a kindergarten there. One. Now the next thing I want to do is a little bit of industry across here. So just come into mods, factories. And in here there's a vodka. Now one of the reasons I like using these small mods, if I come into here and we go to, I think it's, is it various industry? No, it's the, where is it? I think it's food. Grocery store, distillery. You see these are really big buildings which are great when you're building a big city, but these are a little bit too big, and plus they also take quite a lot of workers. So one of the advantages of using mods is you can get these really small, you can say starter industries, which is, I think we need a bit of a gap so that we can allow a footpath between the store and the, if we put that in about there, maybe over a little bit. So I'd want to guarantee to get a footpath down between here. And one of the problems with footpaths is that you've got to make sure that they all connect like that. That's good. And then the next industry I want to put in is clothing. That's it. Because these could be two pretty good money spinners. I'm kind of thinking like that. Oh, we need to put a road in. So put that. Maybe like that. Back to there. Factory. More clothing. Maybe just like you just see if we can get in the storage. So if I can get that connected to there, like that, just a little bit back like that. I'm not worried about the rail connection because there's no way we're going to get railway up here. So back to mods, factory, clothing factory. Yeah, so we can get that in just like that, maybe a little bit closer. We're getting touched by infrastructure now. We can just drop that in there. We got that there. I think it was time to think about getting the power in. So what I'm going to do is kind of put path along here. I'm just going to stick that back. Not playing game. Just that there, run you along like that. That gives us a connection there and a connection to there. Now residential, I'm going to be completely honest, I really like the modded residences, and I'll explain the reason why. Now you get these flats, they've all got road connections. And this is one of my favourite ones. In fact, what we'll do is we'll just put a couple in on this side. Just to show you. And what you get is you get these roads here, but that interferes with the footpaths. You can't have footpaths running like that. Something you do need to realise is that when residents are walking around your town, the distances they can travel is dependent on the footpaths. And if you put a road in like that and they've got to walk round something, it means they can't get as far as what they should do. Just pause the game again while I'm talking, because we're right up on the 25th of March and time is moving forward. So one of the downsides of these buildings is the fact that they've got these road connections, where if I come into the mods and go to residential, and I find one of my favourite buildings, this is this one here. It's only got 60 people in it. In some ways that's not quite so bad, because I've seen people starting off small cities, and one of the problems with, if I put down a building, I mean, I've got some buildings here, I mean, this has got 160 workers in it. The problem with this, when you've got a small city, is that you can, when you build a building, you can assign workers to a specific job, but you can only assign so many for it to be effective. And if you build a great big apartment block like this, 160 workers going in when you're first starting out, it's not very efficient. I mean, it's great once you start building your large cities later on, but when you're starting out, what you want is a reasonably sized building to get things done. I think we can... I don't want everything too cramped together. What I'm thinking is that there. And then we're just going to put a path up. That's a bit too close. I think in some ways we can just go up like that. And what I'm doing is just putting a ring of paths behind like that. Actually, that's a bit too... Well, now as it's gonna, because I put the node in, gonna be a bit stroppy about it. But what we're gonna have to do is, yeah, you can see. So maybe we'll have to go like that. Now the reason I'm deleting the footpaths and then putting them back in completely is that if you extend a footpath that's already there, what you get is a node in the middle. But when it comes to turning these into gravel, what you end up is two short sections. And I know when I did the introduction, I said that we were going to be building everything. There will be occasional exceptions where you have to build things manually, especially with footpaths and rail track, but very occasionally roads, because what actually happens is if you get a little short section of footpath, and especially railway tracks, the game just doesn't recognize them. You can't get them to build it, no matter how hard you prod and shove them, redesign it. Of course, what I'm going to have to do is trim this back because it detects that the footpath is within the infrastructure range of the building. I'm just going to get in actually. I think we'll put this one this way round. This occurred to me. So we're just going to put this one here. It's not going to get any closer. That's as close as I can get. Again, it's this footpath that's actually causing the problem. So if I take the footpath out, take that out, we should be able to do is get it a little bit closer together. Although strictly speaking, I don't want them too packed together. So you can get that over a little bit more. The trouble is that footpath is probably not going to go up between there now. See, I've now put that tiny little section in there. If I do another little section, it's just going to make this almost unworkable. Let's just take this out. I can take that out. That's a bit better. And just take that through there. So again, that created that little section there. So just take that out and redo it. And then what we're going to do is, of course, we're going to put the next building up, so we can't do that. I don't think I want to go over any closer that way. So what we're going to do is just put a footpath up. I think that'd be okay. What we're going to do now is just trim this footpath back again, and then what we're going to do is put in the next row up of buildings. So what we're going to do is have you. What we're actually going to need is a proper footpath here. So I'm just going to run up from you across like that. Then we'll put you in here. I must admit, laying out flats in this game is both a pleasure and an absolute frustration, depending on your view of the world. If you're not really into precision placing, laying out dwellings in this game can be incredibly frustrating. So we've got two sets of blocks there. That one's moved forward a little bit, but I think I can live with that. Oops. And what we're going to do is run you up through there, and you can run through there. And we can now run this, which I think we'll just run that. No. Okay, we'll just trim this back like this. It's back like that. I'll run you through there, and we'll start there to there. A node there, so take you out. There's the node there. See, oops. Gonna run through. Now, reason for this long footpath here will become apparent eventually. And see, I've just managed to get that tiny little bit in. So we've now got this width here. We've got this built here. So I think I'm now in a position where I could probably put in some of the power. Let's just get my measuring tool out. We can actually use the power for measuring. So we can get power to, if I'm up to about there. So if I put it about there, we can get to that part there. More importantly, we can get to the petrol station. I want that clothing factory covered. If I move back, the construction office doesn't really need power, but it's about 302. They've actually increased the range of the distance people can walk and the power. That's the wrong way round. I made a mistake there. I think if we can put it about there, we should be fine. Just we have to put a little road in. Haha, there we go. And that can go there. So what we're going to have to do now is put power in. And what I'm thinking is I'm going to need a power splitter over here. So what we're going to need is a road actually up here. If we bring a road up to there, maybe just you, oops. That's gaining too much height. That's because that little bit there is locked. I'm just going to have to lower the terrain a little bit here. Correct my mistake. That's a little bit better. Come on, turn green. That's it. Now we can come through to there. We'll probably redo this road. The reason I'm putting the road in is that I know I want a road here, and I also want a road come out here like that, and the back here, because this would be the road that we'll be bringing our aggregate in, or gravel, and eventually that road will come. Maybe we can just turn that back a bit. We'll bring the road round and up to there. So we got power there, and what I'm going to need now is we can put a full-blown. I think we just need one of these. And what we're going to have to do is put in something like this about here, just like that. Because I know I'm going to need another substation over here to drive the concrete. We got a little power station there that can hook to there, and then what we're going to do is, question now is, do I take it from this one or this one? I think we'll take it from this one, and what you can see is I'll force that over, take off that one in the front, and I'm just going to hook you through to there, and we're going to hook you through to there. So what we have is power there, and then eventually we can take it round to there to power the concrete and cement works. So we're going to build this with approvals, and then we're going to start the game running forward. And we're going to have to import power. So we'll just go for the full 10 megawatts. What we should get, I haven't built this yet. I'm just going to fund that with dollars. What is it without power supply? Sometimes, oh, I haven't built this one either. So we're just going to, we've now got power to there. And we've got power to here. And what we can do now is we can actually cancel the auto purchase here. You can see what's going to happen now is these are going to come up and get fuel. So the first thing we're going to need to do is make sure we've got fuel. We've only got 14 tons of fuel in here, so what we're going to do is buy a tanker. I knew there was a little tanker here. And what we're going to do is set you up, purchase fuel from there to there. You're going to buy fuel, unload fuel, and once it's full, you're going to wait until loaded. Now you can see here, this is actually the trap. But when you buy a tanker, because it's low on, it's low on fuel. Actually, every vehicle you seem to buy is low on fuel. So the first thing it's going to do is come up here and fill up. You have to keep an eye on that, because if you don't have fuel here and it can't fill up, it won't go back there and buy more fuel. So we've got this area here. I'm also aware that time is going on quite quickly in this video, so I'm not sure we're going to get everything completely finished in this part. I think what I want to do now is work on this area. So let me see. I've got this warehouse built. I think I'm going to just build it so I can actually see it. We're going to fund that with dollars. I think what we'll do is, as we build the buildings that I need, I'm just going to do it. Now there is an inherent risk with this, in the sense that because the game's running, these could actually catch fire, and then it would be very embarrassing. And I'm just going to build that. So we're going to need that. So we got up there, and this has got auto purchase on as well. Just take this off. You can see it's been primed with a little bit of food. We'll probably get some trucks up here to fill this up with food as well. But what we'll need to do is set this as well eventually. So moving on, what do we want here? What I do want is a road cargo station. That's what I want. I'm going to put that in about there. So can I get that a little bit better? I wouldn't mind it tilted that way, but it's going to be. Now I'm not going to auto build this. I'm just going to come here. It's dropping down quite low, which is of course for concern. Half expecting the factory connection to disappear. Just take that out. I'm just going to squeeze you past there. Now we need to get a bus station in. I'm a little bit worried that we don't have enough room. I mean, I'd like to put a bus station there, but maybe we'll have to put a bus station there. And then of course the next thing I need to build is a small open store. Okay, I'm just going to book this. I'll twist this a little bit. I'm just going to put the open store here. Just watching that factory connection. Or just. Yeah, so we've got the open store. And what we're going to do is just run you into there. We've got a little bit of space here. If we get a bus connection in there, we've got to give it a go just to see. Small bus platform. If I turn it that way, just about fits. I think I can get that in there actually. Yep. Of course, we're going to need to build that, and what we're going to need to do is put some footpaths in here. Let's make you up there. So we're going to put a footpath along here, and let's curve you up there. Didn't want you to. Oh. A whole lot just disappeared. This can get a little bit stroppy sometimes. Let's come up. The key factor is to get the 90-degree turn, so it will do that. See, it's going that way. The moment you come this way, because this is too short, so we're going to trim that back again. I think it stops about. Now it's gone the other way. No. Get in there. Got there in the end. I'm just gonna go through to there and across to there. And we'll hook these infrastructures in the way. There's a node there. So what we're gonna have to do is put you across to there, you up to it's there. It just needs to be a little bit convincing, and we're going to just put a footpath across to there, and there to there, and there to there, there to there, there to there, and probably bring you out to there. And what we'll do is take this one out and just connect you through to there. So we've now got that connected to there. So we've got a kindergarten there, we've got our bus station there. So what we really need is another housing block just here. Actually, we should be able to now be able to check. Yeah, so people from here can get to there. So what we'll do is we'll put another apartment block, and we could put a bigger one in, but I really want one. What we got here, these are small dwellings. We've also got these buildings here. We could put in something like that here. This has got 96 workers in it. I think maybe we'll do that. We'll just put in split view a little bit like that. We'll just drop one in there like that. Now we need to get what we call it in here, concrete. But the question is, I don't want to have to level too much through here, but I feel that we need to fill in this depression a little bit, and hopefully my trucks will be back in the vehicle depot to have a look here. No, you haven't got any fuel because you haven't been there, so you're full up now. So what we're going to do is just I think we'll go for an average. We'll start here. Yeah, I think, and then what we're going to do is just push through here. Need a 3 bulldozer, so my bulldozers are now decided to go for some fuel. Thank you, game. Okay, we're gonna have to try and do this with roads. Isn't this fun? I think what we can do is just come through here, because we're gonna need to get in this area here, and I think we'll just level off this a little bit here. We use roads. Just again, I don't really want to get this absolutely dead flat. I just want to get it to a point where I think maybe we'll just pick that up a little bit like that. Let's pick up along this datum line here. What I want to do is just get this high enough so that I can put the concrete and the asphalt plant in here, and maybe if we come across just like that and just lift this area up a little bit, create a datum line here, and then just come in. If we start back about there, we get a bit of an upslope here. And we just like that. fill that a little bit of area in there like that. I think that would be it. It still keeps that slope relatively good. I think maybe we'll just trim this back a little bit, give me a bit more space. We're creating a little bit of a cliff face here, but I don't think there's much we can do about it. Maybe just a little bit more. Again, so I don't want to spend too much time just, whoops, just put a new round to say about new round to about there. Run new. Didn't want to do this. It's a little bit flatter that way. So we'll just put you there, and then we'll bring you up through here. If we trim back, oops, no, trim back these footpaths. Now we do have the roads over here, isn't it? So if we bring you up through here, say to there, bring you through here, you can get a really tight curve on this, and you can come in there. That now gives me a problem here. So what we're going to have to do is take this out, because what will happen is it won't level to this point. So what we're going to do is just get a really long slope, just like this. As we make sure it stays on that little edge there. Come to here, like that, and a little bit more along here, maybe a little bit more here, and a little bit more up. No, that's actually gone down. So we've got that area there. If we put the road back in again, like that, it's just lifted it a tiny little bit, but we can live with that. And then now comes the fun bit. We've got to get a concrete plant in, like, one bright thing, so we don't have to level the concrete plant. Actually, the asphalt plant. So we get the asphalt. We want the asphalt plant that way. What I'm thinking is, if you see on the bottom left of the asphalt plant, there's the conveyors. So I'm thinking maybe I want this as close to the road as possible, and maybe a little bit this way. Because what we're going to have to get is houses up here so that workers will come down to them. Okay, this one's distorted a little bit. I think we can just get a little. Oops, oh, we built it anyway. So what we're going to do is just get this in. Just turn this. Actually, just turn you a smidge this way. Just get that way. Get that way. So we can pop you in about there. And then what we're going to do is put in the small aggregate plant and try and get you in as close as possible. Two reasons. One, it's less resources to build the conveyors, and we'll just put you. There's a problem. We're going to have to try and do it that way, because the ore processing, that's going to be a pain. So we're going to get there. Because what we're going to have to do is get the gravel processing. Wow. That's the roads on the wrong side, but I have a mod for that. And factory. There's this nice mod, where is it? Gravel Processing V2 it's called. And what it actually does is it actually puts the road on both sides. Now the problem with this is going to be is, look at the bottom left hand corner. That corner may drop. Oh no, it's rise. It's okay. It's the right hand corner's rising to meet the left hand corner. So that now gives me the gravel processing, and then get you up, connector there, and you through to there, and we've got you connected there. I suppose while I'm at it, I might as well do the gravel as my bulldozer's back. Yep. We've got this little bump here, but I don't think it's that important. Let's just level through here a little bit. Just lifting that up a bit, so make sure we can get a road through here. Now this gravel is actually in a depression. If I zoom in quite close, you will see that it's in a depression, and what I want to do is, rather than, and if I tried to build the quarry in there, I'd just drop it down into a great big hole and you won't be able to do anything. What you need to do is just level off this a little bit. I think what we will do is just try and, I'm not trying to get it absolutely level, I'm just kind of trying to smooth off that kind of very abrupt cliff I created. Maybe just fill this in here. I wouldn't mind a road through here as well. Now where you've got this stone texture, it always seems to take longer to lift it up than normal ones. So I'm just going to come in here. I just want to get that reasonably level so it'll make it a little bit easier. Hopefully we'll be able to get the quarry in. Right, well, is just going to zoom out a little bit. Maximum coverage if I can. That's gone great. That goes red, but that's green. That's going red. Can we get that in? See where the quarry is going. Right, we've got the quarry there. And what we're going to do is just push this through here, like that. And just connect you up to there. And we'll bring you through to there. What I want to do is just trim this road back. And I'm just going to put this road in. Whoops, I just want to put the heating plant in. Use a small heating plant because this is not going to be massively big. I'll turn it this way so that we've got heat pipes going. Actually, let's build it that way. I think maybe we'll put it that way. How much range have we got? About 352. Now, the problem with heating is that because it's coal-fired, it will produce pollution. So you don't want it too close to your town, your residences. But at the same time, if you can get a direct connection like that, you can actually heat directly. And more importantly, and this, I think, what I found from my test play is that when it comes to heating, don't rely on buses. You really need your people to be able to walk to it. So I think if we put it about there, and then, yeah. The two things I found is that what you need to do is connect up with footpaths and get your people to walk to them. Walk to wherever you walk to the heating plant, and then what you want to do is assign a dedicated 1 or 2 houses to keeping the heating going, and to come up to there. And hopefully, if this works correctly, we come into here, yeah, and this one, you go there. So we got at least 2 blocks of flats. I'm calling them houses, but. And we've got that one there. So we've got these 4 on the corner. We'll be providing both the construction workers and the final workers to keep the heating going through the winter. Just have a quick check now. And with that, they can also get to the bus platform. We've got this one here. This is too far away to provide that, but that's okay. Now the next thing we need to do is now provide some dwellings to drive the concrete plant. So I think we can go up one more. What we got here? Just tidy up, take that out, and put this in like that. Through there. I put a kindergarten here, didn't I? I think we'll just build that so I can actually see it. We need a kindergarten, keep going. Actually, we need a fire station as well. Where can we put the fire station? We need to cover that and that, so I think we'll put the fire station here. I'm just going to put it on pause because I'm getting very twitchy about the time. Again, with the fire station, the one that comes in with the default game is really big, and what you don't really need a massive fire station when you're first starting out. There it is. And what I found is this very nice little neat mod that can come in here. And I think we can just tuck the fire station in here. Of course, we're going to need to connect it up with footpaths. Again, we just to there. Eventually, we'll take a footpath up there. And actually, we can take a path through. I will hook that one up and then hook you up to there. And what we're going to do is have a couple more houses. We're going to go with the 60 blocks here. Again, we're going to have one turned in that way. See if we can get this in really tight. Like that. And then we have to put the footpath up to here. Just make sure it does the connection. And then again, I think we're going to have it this way round. We need to leave enough space. So if we just come back that way a little bit. You can see we've got the yellow line for power and the red line for heat. So we drop that just about there. I doubt very much whether this will reach. We can use our measuring tool to find out. Now, the average distance someone can walk, if I just show you, is if we come here, is about 225, 238 there, if the footpaths are good. When you gravel them, people will walk further because the distance people can actually walk is based on the speed they walk. So that's not really good enough, but I don't really want to go up higher. So I think what we're going to do is just put a footpath. With that. I won't that. Okay. I think we're going to put a footpath across like that. And oops, thank you, autosave. And then what we'll do is we'll just run a footpath out like that. Trim this back. I think what we will do is trim that back, and we'll just. Okay, this is not gonna. I'm gonna get a node there, so I think if we run that there, that should hook up to there, and then take that out and hook that to there. Now we're going to need to get a theatre in somewhere as well. I think the next more important thing we need to do is get a school and a clinic in, and I think we can put the school about there. Again, I would really like the footpath to be across the front. So we're just going to push the school back a little bit. So also, if you've got longer access roads, you can actually build them with vehicles. So if we can put that there. So we'll put a school there. Trim out that little bit of there. And if this goes according to plan, what I should be able to do is just put a little footpath there. And this is built a footpath out the back, which I probably don't need for the moment. I'll just trim this back. Because what I want the other side is a clinic. And same as last time, just to show you. A hospital is a pretty big building, expensive to build, and where if I use a mod, there's a nice little, I can find the hospital, we can get a nice little clinic like this. You can see it only needs 7 workers, educated workers, and what we can do is just get the clinic there, and that can actually, let's can I get that footpath up? I think that might be just a little bit too close. Yeah, okay, we're just going to take that out. Take that away. And again, I think we'll just put in extend this footpath up. Put the footpath like that, and then we'll just go back to the mod. There, is already there. We'll just put the clinic about, just square it up a smidge like that. And we can hook that in there, and that means everyone should have access to the clinic. And the one thing left I want to put in is a theatre and sport. We need a bit of sport as well, but we're going to build the sport. Now sport can be a bit tricky, because if you use the default sport, what actually happens is, I just saw it go green. If you use the default one, actually just show it to you. Come in here, if you look at the sport ground here, it's only got a maximum of 1 workers. The problem with that is that when 1 worker leaves, it takes a little while for another worker to come. And what someone's actually done is created a mod with 3 workers in it. And that means that, actually we can probably just move that path over a tiny amount. It shouldn't make a difference. We can just move this footpath over. So if we come in here, and we can just drop this sports ground in. Maybe we'll just square it up a tiny amount. Oops. If we drop the sports ground in there, we should be able to get a footpath around the back, like that. And hook these up here. Put the fire station up, and that should still mean that people can get to the heating station. Sometimes you've got to be a bit careful, because even small changes can affect it. So we've got that in there. I would like to put in the theatre in here, and again I'm using this one. And the reason I like this small theatre is the fact that it's got no road connection. I thought you'd probably put the theatre in there actually, and then we could build out round this with houses later on. We could put a road across the back here, couldn't it? Right, I think we're going to put the theatre just in here. So we're just going to put that in there. Yeah, that's good. We're not going to auto build the theatre and the sports ground, but we will build the school. We're not going to auto build the clinic, and of course we need to auto build the concrete plant and the asphalt plant. And, I mean, they take a little while to build. I think I've got most of the core buildings in. The only thing we haven't got is the small aggregate. We need to auto build that as well. So we got the small aggregate plant, the concrete plant, the asphalt plant's just building. We got school is quite important, because if you don't have a school, you don't educate, and if you don't educate your people, they get unhappy very quickly. We've got a food, we've got a kindergarten to get us up and running, So so that is virtually all the buildings I need to build. Ah, no, open store. We don't build an open store, we can't actually build anything. So we've got an open store, we've got the warehouse and the aggregate for our basic materials, which we will buy at the customs. We're going to need to get trucks coming out here to deliver this. We've got a school here and a kindergarten, not a school, we've got a shop, a school, kindergarten, a school, concrete there. One thing we need now to do is put in some housing that will actually allow people to come down here and work, because at the moment none of these will get even close to it. Probably even if I put a footpath in, just put a footpath in as a tester. If we put a footpath down here to here and up to there and there, and no probs, let's take that out and we hook that up. I'd probably hook here, so that building is actually close enough to the concrete plant to do it, but it's not close enough to the asphalt plant, so we're going to have to put another residence up here, probably a fairly big one. In fact, let's just do it while I'm thinking about it. The problem's going to be is how far away that's going to be from the shop. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to get residential 128 workers, 96 workers. Maybe if we put in, it's going to be great to put it there actually. If we put it there, just the question is, will that be close enough to that using footpaths? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's if we just connect that up. Okay, I'm just going to run that through there. And we'll just run that across like that. And we'll run you down to there. Leave that path there. But what we'll probably have is the university up here. Actually, I wouldn't mind a bus station in there. And yeah, that works. We've got contact. The only thing they can't reach is the kindergarten, which is a little bit annoying. Can I fix that? Oh, there's no path connection there. Sometimes you just need to put in small path connections. If we put a path connection in there, path connection in there. Oops. I think what we're going to have to do is just knock this down and then take out this area here. We're going to have to take all this out. That out. Take that link out there, that link out there, that link out there, and then just back to here. Was it 90? Was it 128? Wasn't it? That was a tiny little bit of path just there. Get that maybe a smidge closer. Actually, let's just take out this path here. Trim that back to here. Just take that up a little bit, over a bit, up a bit. Okay, see if we get that, we'll connect it up. This can just come down, connect that. This can come through, connect to that. This can go through the center. This can connect up to there like that. Yeah, that can now connect to the kindergarten just. So we got there, and it still connects to there. Well, I've just noticed I'm way over the time for this video, so I think this is probably a good point to leave it. What I will do off camera is a little bit of tidying up. I will put the bus stop in here, think of a location for my university, probably put a few more dwellings in. Not that I'm going to build them all, I just want to plan a little bit more of the town. And of course we need to build the fire station while I'm thinking about it. But this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode, hope you found it interesting, and until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.